Welcome my fellow gamers, I'm the Body Counter, and today I'll be doing a new and revised list of weapons I'm hoping to see in the Apocalypse DLC for Battlefield 1. Now, as my previous list stands, 4 of my predictions were accurate: the SMG-0818 and the Perino from the Russian DLC, and the Farquhar Hill rifle and Kakano rifle from the new Turning Tides DLC. Now that we have one expansion left for brainstorming ideas on, let's dive right in. First off, my favourite class, the Assault. I might start with a rather different choice compared to other people's ideas. It fits well into the Bulgarian nation and maps I did in my Apocalypse maps video previously, since Bulgaria has a lack of automatic firearms compared to other nations. This weapon is a combination of 2 LMGs, the MAUSER and the Rexer LMG, together making the sawn-off MAUSER. The Rexer is identical to the MAUSER except for the fact that it has a shortened stock or no stock at all. Info on both the shortened MAUSER and the Rexer are scarce. The sawn-off MAUSERs served in the Western Dutch Indian colonies during the 30s and 40s. It's unconfirmed if sawn-off MAUSERs saw service in World War I, but the concept isn't too complicated for it not to be in the war. The pictures of the MAUSERs featured share remarkable similarities to the MAUSER already in game, so the sawn-off version in the Dutch Indian colonies could be World War I variants. The Rexer saw limited use, but was made before the war from 1905 to 1910. Combining the short grip of the Rexer and the short barrel of the cut-down MAUSER will create the perfect assault viable LMG. The MAUSER came in 12 different calibers. For the sawn-off MAUSER, I feel the 7.57mm Mauser would be best fitting. For the Assault, the sawn-off MAUSER could have the same fire rate, slightly lower bullet velocity due to the shortened barrel, wider bullet spread, but a 40 round magazine instead of a 30 round mag, and possible variants could include a trench and optical. Next up is a very diverse idea for the Assault, which could bring a new playstyle to the class, the Winchester Model 1910. Now at first, this rifle looks like the M1907 for the medic class. You wouldn't be wrong. Both are made by Winchester and were used in World War I. This Winchester was made by the US, but bought and used by France and the Russian Empire in small numbers. The Winchester 1907 uses the .351 Winchester round, while the 1910 uses the .401 Winchester round. The .401 was more powerful and had a pointed tip over a round-tipped weaker bullet of the 1907. The M1910 had a 4-round detachable magazine, so a fair way to balance the weapon for the Assault is to make the M1910 a 2-shot kill from within 50 meters and giving the rifle a quicker reload than the M1907. Variants for the weapon could be a trench and a storm. Now for the medic class. The first idea I have is a semi-automatic conversion of a weapon already in game. The Yaznikov Mannlicher 1895. A Russian modified sniper rifle with added mechanical features to automatically work the straight pull bolt action after every shot. When the Russian Empire had shortages of semi-automatic weapons, they experimented with turning the Gewehr 95s into good substitute self-loading rifles instead of fully manufacturing new rifles. Though they were crude and info on it was hard to find, it would be amazing to see such a great Austrian sniper rifle converted to a semi-automatic firearm. Much like the Mannlicher 95, the Yaznikov 95 can share the same damage as the Scout's rifle, only with a much higher fire rate. Along with a gas piston along the side of the rifle working the bolt, this variation also had a pistol grip. A trench variant and a sniper variant with a bipod telescopic sight could make viable options, especially sniper, as the original Gewehr 95 in-game lacks a sniper rifle variant in multiplayer. Next on the list is a rather obscure weapon, to the point that it's unconfirmed whether it was made before or after the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The FEG Frommer rifle, made by the same man who created the Frommer stop pistol. In terms of statistics, it held an estimated 5 to 6 rounds using the 7.92mm Mauser fed from stripper clips. Other information is hard to come by. Rate of fire unknown, muzzle velocity unknown, even the manufacturing date isn't confirmed, but the appearance itself is really unique. To balance the fact the weapon had such a low capacity, making the rifle 2-hit body shot at a certain distance would be a good idea. Since there is only one Frommer rifle still around to this day, DICE could take a shot in the dark with its design, seeing as it's the final DLC with, quote, brutal tools and unique weapons, and make one of the variants an experimental version with a 10 to 12 round magazine and optical lens. The other variant can be the simple factory version. For the support class, my first idea is something I would have expected to see in Turning Tides, but sadly it might have to wait for Apocalypse if it does make an appearance. The Salvatore Dormus M1893, or Skoda 1893 for short, was a heavy machine gun made by Austria-Hungary. The reasoning for expecting it in Turning Tides was the fact that these HMGs were mounted to the Austro-Hungarian cruiser called the SMS Zenta, which saw action in both the Boxer Rebellion and World War I. The Skoda M1893 fed from 20 to 30 round overhead magazines using the 8x50R ammunition. As with many machine guns present in the support class, the Skoda 1893 could be implemented as a lightened version. Using a unique mechanism known as a pendulum, the fire rate of the Skoda could be adjusted from 175 RPM to 500 RPM. A good implementation of this weapon in-game is to have a select fire mode, but instead of semi-auto and full auto, you have 200 rounds per minute and 500 rounds per minute. 200 being a more controllable fire rate with increased accuracy, while the 500 could be used in close quarters with less aimed accuracy. Variants for this hefty weapon could be a low weight and storm. Another returning weapon from my previous list is the highly suggested BURTON automatic rifle, a US-made dual-magazine machine rifle intended to be mounted on aeroplanes and destroy airships and balloons, using a specifically designed .345 WSL incendiary round. Although it used two 20-round magazines, they couldn't be fed into the gun at the same time. One magazine had to be pushed further into the firearm to fire and pulled out when empty to lower the second magazine in. Often considered America's first assault rifle, it's more fitting for the support role. One thing particularly odd about its design was the fact it had a bayonet lug, which hints more to it being intended for ground use aside from plane use. I had fun thinking about ways to balance it. It had a fire rate of 100 rounds per minute, and adding a possible burning effect to the bullets to do flare-like damage over time to targets makes it a beast. So to make this weapon fair, giving it a lengthy reload and second magazine adjustment animation would be good. Variants could include a trench and optical. Now for the final class, the Scout. I took a larger amount of time brainstorming for this class, but managed to find some good ideas. The first being the Ross rifle, a straight pull Canadian standard issue rifle. Chambered in .303 British caliber, the Ross rifle has a capacity of 5 and was known for its great performance before the war. But once in the trenches, it struggled to maintain its reputation it had prior to World War I. Despite its poor environmental handling in the muddy trenches, it was renowned for its accuracy. Its inclusion into the DLC would make it the second straight pull weapon in the game. It would also fit well into the Canadian faction I mentioned in my previous video. It may be straight pull, but I would love for it to still have a sweet spot with a range of 100 meters to 140 meters. To balance this straight pull rifle while still having a sweet spot would be to make the bolt action slower than the M95. For variants of the Ross rifle, infantry and sniper would work best, as Battlefield 1 is already lacking an M1903 infantry and sniper variant for the M95. Last on the list is a further refined version of the Mauser 7184, Germany's first ever repeating rifle, specifically the Turkish Mauser 1887, which was given to Ottoman troops in the Middle East. The M1887 was a bolt-action sniper rifle used by the Ottoman Empire in World War I. Around 270,000 of these rifles were bought by the Ottomans. The M1887 Turkish Mauser used a 9.5x60R black powder caliber and fed from a tubular magazine with a capacity of 8, much like the Lebel rifle from the French DLC. The Mauser 7184 was first made as a single fire rifle, but many versions later increased the capacity. Ways to diversify the 1887 from the Gewehr 98 would be to reduce the bullet velocity due to its black powder caliber and give it a sweet spot range of roughly around 40 to 100 meters, but with a slower bolt action for balancing reasons. Some variants that would suit the rifle would be an infantry and marksman. I hope you agree with all the weapons I've listed and the ways they could be included into the game. If Apocalypse goes all out with their content, much like In the Name of the Tsar did, then we could expect 2 weapons per class. I hope you enjoyed this prediction video. It was fun researching many of these obscure weapons, and I sincerely hope that DICE do implement these weapons into the fray of firearms in-game. If you have any other ideas for weapons you want to see in the DLC, drop them down in the comment section below and I'll check them out. Subscribe to keep up to date for when I upload next, and as always, continue gaming on.